Yeah.
So welcome everybody. Welcome to this GCMA Hot Topics recorded webinar. We are joined today by our good friend Simon Wood from Golf Access. Simon is the founder and director of Golf Access. How long has Golf Access been going now, Simon?
It's been going for 4.5 years now.
Yeah, good. So obviously you've had a couple of years that have been challenging, as most of us have. But I understand that you're starting to gather some really good traction in the industry now. Would that be a fair comment?
Yeah, we had a really good traction just before the first lockdown. Really, we had sort of about 120 golf clubs in 5 different countries when the first, obviously, lockdown hit, and just because of the fact that sort of the courses were shut and the fact that golf got so busy, we've had a bit of a challenge in the last couple of years. But now the courses have been opened and there hasn't been a lockdown this winter. It just goes to show that hopefully then people can start planning, and we've had over a dozen clubs sign up over the last few weeks to hopefully become partner clubs to get more people and families into golf this year.
That's fantastic. So basically, this webinar has come about because yourself and myself had a conversation at the GCMA conference in November about the importance of the work that you're actually doing. And I've got some experience in working overseas where the golf business models are slightly different. And sort of putting 2 and 2 together, we came up with the idea that it'd be good to do a webinar and to sort of focus on perhaps the overarching theme of getting more families involved in golf clubs, possibly through a family membership, or at least some sort of discount scheme for spouses and children of members. So that's really where the idea of this webinar came about, and it's something that we're very passionate about at the GCMA. We have, as we know, that golf in England and in the UK in general is seriously underrepresented by women. I think it's roughly 14 or 15% of the playing population are female, and obviously you look around some of the newer markets in Europe, not quite as mature as the UK's market, but they have much higher percentages of women playing golf. So is there anything that you would sort of put that down to, Simon, or is it just it's just the way things are here, and take it as it is, and we'll try and change it for the better?
I just think certainly from a female point of view, I think we've get a number of people to start the game, but it's just that retention side that we've found that we struggle with over the previous years, and that's why Golf Access was formed, really. I just found that we did an awful lot of starting people off on the range and the practice facilities, and it almost had weeks and months of coaching and hitting the ball rather than actually having access to the golf course. And golf is played to a series of holes on a course, and certainly if we could actually create a forward tee where people can play from until they reach an ability where they can move back to the standard tees, it's a much more accessible way for people to learn the game on the golf course, hopefully in combination with coaching, and we could just hopefully just create a much better experience for people to enjoy the game, fall in love, and then become lifelong participants, whether they become single figure handicappers or just members of the club who want to go out and enjoy the game in the fresh air.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere once that one of the main reasons why people don't become members of golf clubs, or they don't retain their membership, is the competence level, that they don't feel comfortable that they're good enough to actually play the game. So I think that's somewhere where you're coming from.
Yeah, very much so. And it's not just the fact of playing from a set of tees, it's actually having some measures to actually see how they perform. And that's why Golf Access has 9 unique coloured levels that they can actually attain, and they're rewarded for every time they get to a level. And it just gives them 9 stepping stones to try and track their progress, map how their progression goes on. And then when they finish the 9th level, they're ready to join the golf club. And the golf club knows they're ready, the golf coach knows they're ready, and the participant knows they're ready. So it just really does give a much smoother transition for new females and and family members to become a member of a golf club at each facility that we work with.
Yeah, it's that confidence, isn't it? It's everybody's got confidence now, and that sort of stigma that goes with being a new member, or they're hacking up the course, etc. All of those sort of perhaps negative comments that go on about beginners. You can start to do away with them, because with the proof is there that they have that ability, and they're ready to integrate fully.
Yeah, and if you can create a program where they learn, how to fill a scorecard in, from the first sessions, how to put a divot back, if they have weeks and weeks of coaching on the range or off a mat, they probably don't even know what a divot is. So it's just actually giving them those tools and informing the participants as they go through, rather than having just too many sessions on the range and then they're not course ready from the lack of experience of playing from a suitable position and enough time on the course.
So it's much more than just technical proficiency. Then, if you like, it's also sort of behavioural norms within a golf club on the course.
Well, we try to always recommend sort of fortnightly events, and it's very informal with the other side of golf. But obviously, as they start to play, they learn a little bit about the basics of rules, some of the etiquette involved, and it's just very informal, and they learn as they go, really. But again, you only learn through experience. So if you have 15 sessions with a Golf Access events before you become a member of a golf club, you've had 15 rounds or not of 9 holes to actually experience and learn the basics before you then ready to see. So a lot of the time you only learn through experience.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I mean, that's a sort of quite a unique approach, and I think definitely it's a lot more interesting for the individual, and it's much better for the club as well. So I mean, would you also even go as far as to talk to them about dress codes, that sort of thing as well?
Yeah, we try to actually say to our partner clubs to say, don't worry about dress code for the first, as they evolve and become more competent and more experienced, then we can introduce dress code as that. But the thing is, if they just turn up for a couple of sessions and we say, oh, you're wearing the wrong shoes, and if they don't come back, then it's almost a pointless exercise. So the main thing is to keep them coming back, enjoying the game, hopefully meeting new friends that are going through the journey at a similar pace, and then we can then introduce them to sort of what you should wear and what you can wear. But I think it's certainly getting a bit more relaxed a lot of the time, but especially if it's at a quiet time at the club, I don't see how it would affect people if they're just wearing something that they're comfortable in, just to go out, just for the first initial sessions, to make them become customers and lifelong golfers is what we always recommend.
Yeah, because these are some of the sort of traditional barriers to entry that beginners in golf they come across sort of quite frequently, that it can be a little bit uncomfortable for them, with all these rules getting fired at them. So and I think obviously what I'm understanding what you guys are trying to do is really just to try and do away with that, and have that sort of that transition or that integration made an awful lot more comfortable, a lot smoother. And I think as regards dress codes, I think a lot of people forget that the clothing that we wear in golf it's because it's comfortable to play in, and I think anybody coming into the game will soon realize, oh, that's the reason why we wear sort of reasonably loose clothing, because there's quite a lot of movement, and anything that's a bit tight will be restrictive. So it's got to at least be sort of or elasticated or something like that to make it not only comfortable but that you can move in it as well. So there's things like that they're very difficult to explain to somebody coming into the game, and sort of put them on the back foot, if you like. So if you can do away with that, then absolutely brilliant. So so that's really treating the beginners, women and children, and I suppose I'm sure you do men as well. It's just that it's not such a focal point. But are there any other sort of additional benefits to the club in having having that sort of program running?
Yeah, just like I said, exactly what you said. It just creates a customer experience that enhances the coaching at a club, and we actually have over 50% of our participants become full members. So it just actually has that sort of stepping stone conveyor belt to becoming lifelong customers. And we see a lot of the time in the past when I worked for the national governing body that we had lots of people that try golf, but very few actually became that. So almost if you're going to do a golf rocks or get into golf, the whole idea at the end of it is to try and get more customers and people playing golf at your golf club. So if we can actually create a first class experience that they have fun, enjoyable, make new friends, then you're going to maximize the number of those people who then become members of the golf club.
Yeah. And are you getting involved in any way with the activator scheme being run by England Golf? Whereas you don't really need to be a PGA professional anymore to give some of the basic fundamentals of the game.
Yeah, we've actually created our own similar. I say I've not actually seen the activator course from England Golf, but we've created almost like a volunteer mentor training workshop where we fully explain the Golf Access program. We sort of skill people up in how to actually be very informal when you're actually encouraging new people into golf, and just to actually see if we can actually create that social side of golf. That's the number of times they do the golf session and then they don't go into the clubhouse. If you can actually create a full club approach, so when they turn up, they know where to go, they know where to park, the barriers up if there's a barrier for the car park or in the clubhouse. Just all those little bits that we forget that when we started golf. If you can actually create almost the full experience from starting the game to the first session to having a drink afterwards, then going back say, I really enjoyed that, when's the next session? And then if you then have a full 6-month plan in a diary, so you can say exactly when that is, this is what we're going to be. And then if you can get a few, especially if you're trying to get more women into golf, if you've got some of the female members who have been trained up to come along and actually support them with that. We've also got an online platform which gives each participant their own profile online so they can track their scores, almost like a mini handicap version of the My England Golf app. That just means that they can really see their progress, see their improvements, and hopefully as they then carry on and complete Golf Access, they'd be so engrossed and love the game so much that they'd be signing straight up to membership at a club.
Yeah, so is there some sort of a buddy system that you'd operate, or is that sort of similar just to those volunteers that you're talking about?
It's done on an individual club basis, really. So we've got a number of clubs who have got sort of a dozen female volunteers that are helping with the new influx of female golfers into the club, and the coach generally does a fortnightly coaching session, and then the members then take out the new female members or participants to play golf in the Golf Access sessions. So it's down to each club, really. Golf Access gives you a bit of a framework for a forward tee online scoring system, but then it's down to the club if they do weekly or fortnightly or how that works, whether it's the PGA team that take them onto the golf course or potentially junior organisers or volunteers at the club.
Yeah, but you definitely recommend a sort of a coordinated approach from the club, all the way from the sort of the coaching staff, including the clubhouse and hospitality staff, and I suppose even all the way to the committee and the volunteers in the club as well to get involved. And is that when you find that things work the best?
Yeah, it has to be that way to get the maximum benefit, because obviously when they go to the first sessions, obviously they're probably seeing the pro for the first time. And then hopefully if they can go into the clubhouse, they're going to be more comfortable then having and using the facilities all the way throughout the club. And also it's that transition then into full membership, because if you're there and you just actually just finally feel I'm good enough to play golf, if there's that sort of transition membership option, whether it's the flexible membership off peak or sort of just that short-term fix, if you like, for them to trial membership rather than having to commit to the 7-day full fee, you're just actually going to actually break down that barriers and give them that taste of golf club membership before they actually find we really like it and we want to become a full member of the golf club.
Yeah. So I can imagine, I think from what I'm sort of gathering as well, it's likely to speed up the process of somebody, from the moment that they decide that they'd like to try golf to actually becoming a member. Is that something that you found?
Yeah, very much so. It just gives them the chance to actually hopefully know how to get to become a member. So when a lot of the time, generally when golf clubs don't have a process. They almost wait for the pro to say, right, you're good enough to come along and join as a member. Whereas with this, the member knows what process to do. So, and especially if they're going for that journey, they want to improve a little bit quicker because they can see the outcome after each session, and they have a little bit more lessons, whether that's group or individual. They go to the range a little bit more in their own time rather than it just being the session at the club and that's the only activity in the practice that they do. So we are seeing extra effort, if you like, and time being spent before they become a member of the golf club.
Yeah, yeah. And how about with some of your clubs that are customers? Have they noticed any other revenue opportunities that have resulted from joining the program?
It's all the way through the club actually. So it's basically pro shop sales, more coaching, whether it's group and individual, more bar takings, because obviously now the catering has been open all the way through. Then because they've been introduced to the clubhouse much quicker than maybe other methods, they're more comfortable going in and having a drink anytime they have a coaching session or a golf access session. And hopefully then they're going to actually start using the bar much more regularly when they do become a member, because they're so used to going in and feeling comfortable in the surroundings and with all areas of the club.
And I suppose I'm really sort of conscious that I certainly don't want to be stereotypical, but how about the timings of that revenue? Does it generate revenue midweek as opposed to weekends? I mean, we think traditionally that it's the husband that would play at the weekends, and perhaps ladies' day would be on a Tuesday or a Thursday, something like that. Is that sort of still somewhat the case, or every time, or as time goes by, less and less?
We're seeing a bit of a shift actually, because generally golf access needs to play during a quieter time on the golf course, just so obviously the members aren't actually having lots of beginners involved in the middle of their tee times, and also the beginners will feel a lot more at ease if they're not quite such a busy time at the club. So we're just finding this generates revenue during the quieter time on the course, whether that's in the evening or a Sunday afternoon. And then hopefully a lot of the female especially that go through golf access generally work. So hopefully then the club on a Saturday or Sunday can create some tee times for females to hopefully then continue that transition where they do become a member and certainly become more of a just create a competition, whether it's a mixed, rather than it just being men's days Saturday, women's days on a midweek, just have competitions and let people play. Why does it matter whether you're male or female, and just go out and have a game?
Yeah, I think that's definitely becoming more and more common, which is great. But I think you could almost look at it as from a club's perspective as well. It's an investment. It's an investment in your quiet times, whereas possibly there's in pre-COVID times there would have been pressure on golf clubs to do sort of cut price green fees to try and get people into their quiet times. Whereas this is actually which is sort of quite negative. And this would be quite a positive approach to actually investing in through your future membership and and using those quieter times as well for that.
Yeah, and also, like I said, if you've got a cut price membership, green fee offer, then the chances of them becoming a member of your club is probably quite small, because they're going to go around and be a bit of a nomadic golfer. Whereas with this the whole idea of this is designed to become members of your golf club and have those participants as they continue to come back if they have a great experience. Like I said, we have over 50% of our participants when they get to the end of golf access become members of the golf club. So if you can get 50 new female adult members through your door and become members of your golf club, then it's quite a significant revenue on top of the other secondary spend throughout the different areas that a club can generate.
Yeah, no, I think it's all very, very positive. It's all really positive, Simon. So I mean, just really speaking from my own experience, having worked overseas at the golf clubs that I worked at, it was only family membership that was available, and there was no such thing as sort of individual membership. So you signed up with your spouse and your dependents, and that was it. And there was just one price for the whole membership. And really, it really did generate that revenue that you're talking about. It's very much a country club style approach that they use in the States. But having said that, it is important to have some different activities available within the club, because golf isn't for everybody. So if you do want to be accompanied by your whole family, then it would be good to have some slightly different activities. And not all golf clubs in the UK can do that. They're just not set up that way. Perhaps it's their old buildings. They're not set up for that sort of modern development. So, but there will be clubs, and I think there are clubs that are looking at diversifying and having sort of more a broader offering for the customers. So I think family membership is definitely something to be looking at. Have you had any experience of that in the clubs that you're visiting? Has that sort of idea cropped up at any time?
Yeah, certainly. We've got a mixture really of the events. Really, some clubs do family events where sort of parents and children, juniors can go, and they separate it. So mums and dads potentially play with other adults, and then we've got granddad caddying for the juniors, so they then play with juniors. We've got some clubs that have got juniors specific, and then do another session for the non-golfing parents, and some that do adults only. So it really does depend on each individual circumstance. But even if you've just got a clubhouse, and even if you're a non-golfer, if we can actually create that clubhouse welcoming, so we can actually get people using sort of the social side anyway, whether it's just having coffee with friends or making new friends or quiz nights or whatever it might be, there's still an opportunity to have people come along and become a social member, or take part in some of the other activities and social events at the club.
Yeah. I guess another thing is the time pressure that we find ourselves under, even at weekends. Now it's a round of golf normally takes 4.5 hours. You normally need to get there at least half an hour early. You'll be at least half an hour before you're finished after the game. So you're looking at 5 or 6 hours away from home at weekends, and that's not always acceptable these days. So I think having that sort of having your family in the club with you sort of takes away that problem, takes away that time pressure, and you're able to enjoy your golf and your time at the club a lot more as well.
Yeah, and also if you've got sort of the Golf Access set of tees, which is generally about half the length of a standard yellow tee course, you can have whoever's playing. You could have if mum and dad are playing off the yellows, reds, whatever colour they are, and then juniors playing off the forward tee. There's lots of different elements where you can actually have that, and just go off the set of tees that you want to play off, or everyone can play off the Golf Access team, create a par 3 course for your members. It's just actually them playing as a family and just really going out and enjoying the game together.
Yeah, and I think that has to be sort of one of the greatest USPs of golf. Anyway, is that you can play with anybody of different levels, different ages, and so it's absolutely appropriate for families to be playing together, and and you get to spend that time as well with your families. That doing something that hopefully everybody loves, and you can keep doing it for years and years in the future. So I think it's a really, really positive message, Simon, and just like to thank you very much for coming on today, just to have a chat about it.
Yeah, no, thanks for the invite, and it was always great just to share some ideas and talk about sort of trying to get more people into the game.
Yeah. So if any of the members want to get in touch with you, Simon, how would they do that?
The best is via our website, which is golfaccessprogram.com. And you can email us on info@golfaccessprogram.com, and then we can then share all the information of what we're doing with some specific exclusive projects with our partner clubs, and how we're actually growing sort of family golf, women's golf, and junior golf all over the world now, because we've got clubs in Asia, Australia, UK, and beyond now.
Fantastic. Well, I certainly wish you all the best with a great program and something that's going to benefit the game and the industry, no question about it. If you're having trouble for any reason of getting in touch with Simon, just drop us a line at GCMA, and we'll happily put you in touch with Simon and his team. But really, I think that's we'll wrap it up for today there. Simon, thank you once again on behalf of the GCMA and its members, and look forward to following your progress.
Thanks very much.